I met this guy in another Web3 event 2 days back actually. अबे सलमान तू भी आ जा. मैं बस ये वाइब को एक्सपीरियंस करने के लिए आया.
हाँ, मैं भी पहला हैकर हाउस तो इंडिया में हुआ ही नहीं.
So we all met in another Web3 project
just a few days back.
Cool. Just see if
Come
this.
closer.
Just see if I have. Is it okay?
Yeah, that is fine. You can just come closer. Yeah? Awesome. Hey everyone, what is up? Hey everyone, what is up? I am Salman and welcome to what is going to be a very long video on Salman Needs a Job. I'm at the Solana Hacker House right now, a 6-day event in Bangalore, Whitefield in Bangalore at Sheraton, where people from across the spectrum, developers, enthusiasts, marketers, community fellows, all types of people, entrepreneurs, founders, people already in the Web3 space, people have no clue about Web3 space, have all come here and are sitting inside a room and are working together on projects, are collaborating, are talking to each other and working on really exciting stuff. So what I am doing on this video is actually going and talking to these people, finding out where they come from, what's their interest in the space, what do they feel about Solana and all of that, and hopefully putting together an interesting video, a documentary about Web3, about Solana in India. What are people working on, what are people building, all the good stuff right here after this.
Okay, yeah.
What's your name and what do you do?
So my name is Joel and I am currently a sophomore student at College of Engineering Karnataka. It's a government college in Kerala. Actually, I was learning about Web3 and while searching for it, I discovered about Solana and all. So I was reading through docs and about what is Solana and how it all works. And then I signed up for a newsletter, like the Solana newsletter and email, And then I got the email that this Solana Hacker House is happening here. And so I thought I was learning about Solana and so I thought I could join here and learn more about it. And so that's why I'm here.
What do I say?
Your name?
Samuel, hi, Samuel here.
Yeah, so what do you have to do here?
Yeah, so just come to the Solana meetup, the hackathon. Pretty new to Web3, don't know much about it. Primarily exploring the community management and marketing, prospects at different projects. So I work in product operations for a fintech firm, a Singapore-based fintech firm.
So those are the 6 teams, guys, waiting for you on my right side.
What are you working on?
So we are making a messaging, it's just a demo project, we are trying to replicate it. So we are not building something new, we are just trying to learn from a already built project.
Messenger kind of thing.
Yeah, so
You're getting started with it today.
We tried building some before as well, but this would be the first thing.
On Solana.
Yeah.
This is the first time you're interacting with Web3 development in
Web3, we have done a small project kind of thing together, but it was very small because we are already working and we already are laden with projects. So this was this event was actually a great skill building. Today we are sitting here exploring this also side by side and getting to interact with so many good people who have the knowledge and so.
Are you both developers?
Yeah. Me and we are currently working with Java and Node.js.
So basically we are in Web 2 and we are working as back-end engineers. This is a new space, Web 3 and Solana, how it's rising and the problems it's solving. This is a very futuristic thing and I think that this is going to bring a great change on the existing architecture that we have in tech.
टोकनोमिक्स पे कितना आइडिया है
भाई मेरे को लग रहा है तू यहाँ पे भी शूट करेगा कैसा है भाई Dude, I'm with my team. This is Mahesh, my friend. He has come from Bombay and is a great programmer as well. And this is our friend who is the founder of Bobble.ai. and we have come to the Solana Hacker House to connect with Web3 evangelists, enthusiasts, and a lot of other folks as well to build something amazing, and also to see whether there are any convergence for our podcast that we are launching up, which is the Web3 Ocean podcast. My name is Ashwat. I'm building a Web3 podcast. It has got a smaller grant from Ocean DAO as well. I've come here to Solana Hacker House to just experience the vibe, meet a lot of old friends over here in Bangalore, and yeah, it's a cool hacker house, and why shouldn't I be here?
Are you building something today?
Possibly we'll look for synergies and hopefully see what we can build, of some value. If it is, then yes, why not? But I'm just come here to meet a lot of people in the Web3 space. एक इसके साथ मैंने लिया, साथ में ले लेते हैं, मतलब अपना फोटो ले लेते हैं. अच्छा, मैंने देखा नहीं. आजा तू भी आजा. I met this guy in another Web3 event 2 days back actually. अबे सलमान तू भी आजा.
These guys are building something interesting.
What are they building?
Ask them. We are building a NFT marketplace as a derivative. So the problem with NFTs are it is very illiquid market. So we are creating liquidity by making as a derivative futures content for everyone. So that even a small guy with a valuation of $10 can take part in the NFTs and can take advantage of the volatility which we do here.
And you're just getting started with that, or?
We are just getting started with it. Means tonight will work, by 2 to 3 days which will be, the demo will be ready. Yeah.
So, what's your background? What do you do? Are you a student?
My studies are done. I just completed my BBA.
So, before this, have you done any development?
Before I used to do some, but not at an extreme level. Just I learned coding to know more about crypto.
So, what have you learned?
I learned how to program a small smart contract on Solidity. Then I also learned how to make a private key with a Viper launch, and then some little bit Node.js and all.
So, what do you think about Solana?
So the Solana basically is a good project, but what I think is the only problem with Solana is the 70% of the supply is centralized, which makes a down point for it. Because recently, if you have seen the 2 months back, there was a downtime of 17 hours. So the problem is only 5 to 6 developers are accountable for Solana to work or not. But by far, it's a good project.
So, that bothers you?
That bothers me for the short term.
But from the development perspective, what do you think?
From a developer perspective, it's a very user-friendly. Yeah.
Your name? You didn't tell your name.
My name is Yashwant. Solana is good. देखा तो कल से मेरा बोर्ड लगा दिया ना बैन. Don't allow Chaudhary. Don't allow Chaudhary.
What's up? Hi guys.
You're working on an app, I guess.
Trying to brainstorm yet.
You guys figuring out what to work on?
Yeah.
What do you do, by the way?
I work as a backend developer. So yeah, that's what I do.
So are you familiar with Solana?
Yeah. I have been working as a blockchain developer for 3-4 years now. I used to work at Tezos before.
I see.
So now I'm figuring out Solana.
What do you have in mind?
Nothing solid yet.
Okay, good. But over the next few days, you expect to?
Yes, build something.
You have a team here with you?
Kind of. I have him there, 2 more people.
When did you guys meet?
I met him now.
You guys just met and you're collaborating. Do you know his name?
Yeah, I apparently know his name. No, we just kind of trying to build, how do you say, a community for a particular place. Like, for example, if you're new to Bangalore, right, and you want to explore XYZ place, but you're alone and you don't have people to explore with. So, how do you explore? So, we're trying to cater that sector.
Why Web3?
So we want to build it on Web2 and integrate the NFT or some kind of tokenization to get people familiarize them with Web3 and get going with that. So that's the goal.
And Solana, what draws you to Solana?
See, initially I've been working with Ethereum. So Ethereum, as we know, has a very high gas price, right? So Solana tends to cater it. We have faster transaction with lesser gas price, and it's faster integration too. So why not? I'm still figuring out if Solana could be the right fit to whatever I want to build or not. Hopefully it is the right fit. So we'll figure out in the next 4 days.
You said your name was?
Tejaswini.
Hi. I'll see you guys around.
Coming up next, and this is our team. This is Rajesh. He's our front-end developer.
I have created my link, and I can use this link for getting crypto payments. So I simply copy this and open my other wallet.
He is like making time in between his Twitter spaces. Like, meet Sandeep. He is building Soul Games.fun. Yeah. Which is probably one of the first game aggregation platform on Solana, if I'm not wrong, right? Yes. And they started with a hackathon. We won the hackathon, and from there, Super Team DAO and a product. Yeah. I liked about Solana is that before this I was developing on the Ethereum, by the way. On the Ethereum I was working for last 2.5 years, but because of the higher transaction fees and lower transaction throughput, I had to pivot to some other blockchain. And luckily the Solana event was happening in August last year, and I tried to participate in that, found a team, and we won the hackathon also, and that gave us a boost to build something on Solana. I am heavily slogging on Solana with my team. Wrote at least 12 to 14 tutorials for the different platforms like Questbook or Figment, where people are already using those tutorials to build the things out of it. We have also raised pre-seed, as I told you. So things are good, going good, and we are expanding our team.
Decision is for me, right? Why will this execute?
I'm Junaid. I'm 17.
What are you working on?
So we are basically designing a healthcare protocol in which all your health records will be on the chain, and along with that we are planning to make a DAO which helps to create a payment system between the patient and the healthcare facilities. We are planning on many features like setting the healthcare facilities as verified networks, planning to introduce connection between social security number and Aadhaar card. Along with that, we're going mega, I would say.
Mega as in?
If you take any field, we could connect the same ecosystem to anything. Like if you wanna send a receipt, you could do so using our ecosystem, build on it using the same backend things.
Did you guys just get started at the hackathon?
Yeah, we just got started at the hackathon.
Along with who?
He's my teammate. His name is Bhargav.
How many people in the team?
We are 4 members now.
All of you met here, or you guys knew each other from before?
No, we met here now.
How did you come up with the idea?
I have been brainstorming this idea from last December. This idea even got top 10th place in the Gitcoin hackathon. Yeah, just presented it, but there's no active development. It was just a light paper kind of thing. We are planning to start a startup based on this.
When did you start coding?
I started learning Java when I was 14. Then Solidity I learned when I was 17.
How did you get into programming?
Yeah, I don't know, I just loved computers a lot.
Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Bangalore.
Are you in school or college or something?
Yeah, I'm in grade 12th now.
So what do you know about DAOs?
So I think DAO is a good thing for us. Instead of having a centralized organization, this is a better thing. Even people have their voice. That matters a lot.
Within a given price range, or what is the most traded trade of an NFT collection? There's no easy way to get this kind of data. Variable. So yeah.
What do you do?
I'm building Web3 communities in tier 2 tier cities of India.
Yeah, like where?
In Jodhpur, Ranchi, and Jamshedpur, Bhubaneswar, and the Kolkata. We are focusing on majorly tier 2 tier 3 cities of India. In tier 2 metro cities, people get exposure of technology very early on, right? And in tier 2 tier cities, people don't get that much exposure, and they have very talented and dedicated. They just need one direction to make their career. So we are trying to give them that exposure and education about Web3.
So how many meetups have you done so far?
We have done so far around 10 to 15 meetups. We recently did India's biggest meetup in Jodhpur.
Are you involved with Solana in any way?
No, we just looking for partnering with the Solana, so getting them awareness about Solana in tier 2 tier cities. I'm the CEO Sahab, S-T-H-E CEO S-A-H-A-B. My name is CEO Sahab.
Okay, so I'm Ishita. I'm the co-founder of Ncubate. So we're a diversity-focused network, but the idea is to get a lot more women into the startup and investment ecosystem. And personally, I've really been exploring the Web3 world from a personal but also a work angle, because I feel like there's a gap for women in the startup and investment ecosystem. But the Web3 world is just beginning, so if we can get women into the start line with everybody else, then why not? And I feel like right now a lot of people are talking about Web3 from the angle of tech and builders, but I want founders to look at Web3 from the angle of a technology and look at it in their growth plan.
What's the difference?
The difference is that right now when someone talks about Web3, they are talking about, hey, do you want to build a business in Web3? Are you a tech person, or even if you're a community builder, you're still building in that space. The idea here is I want a fashion brand to continue their Web2 business, but in their growth journey, say there could be a potential to also build in this space or to also think in this space. So I'm not looking at people moving from Web2 to Web3, but I want people to be aware and beware of, you know, the pros and cons. Because I jumped into this entire thing in March, which is less than 2 months ago. Loved it. With my whole startup journey, I sat and actually did an entire course on Web3. And that's when I realized, being a girl, non-tech person and a founder, if I've learned and understood so much, then why shouldn't I take this to everybody else? But the side of people that I want to actually work with closely or share my journey and my understanding and what I learned are people like me 3 or 6 months ago who didn't even know. Like when I heard of NFTs, I thought, okay, this is not my thing. But then when I did this entire course, I realized that there are just real life and real work use cases. So some people don't even know that they need to be aware of it, and I've been trying to do my part by putting up like Twitter threads or attending these events, talking about it, and doing like really simple LE5, like explain to me like I'm 5 conversations with people.
I had an idea to record a video of you guys talking about why you're here and something. Do you think it's a good idea?
My name is Ali Solanki. I'm a content creator. I do a lot of things in the crypto space. I'm also a developer. So yeah, that's what I do. So my content actually is not defined to a particular niche, but I'm creating content in finance, crypto, development. Even started vlogging a couple of months back. So yeah, that's what I do.
How's creating content in crypto going?
When I started creating content in crypto, it was mainly about development. But now I'm expanding towards covering up like investments and the finance part of it as well, and even the trading part of it. Those are actually the top viewed videos on my channel. If you go and see how to create a cryptocurrency, and these stuff weren't being posted on YouTube, and there was a huge gap in the market. I tapped into it at the right time, I feel, and yeah, those videos got a lot of views as well. I've recently started learning about Solana development, like the Rust language and everything. I am an Ethereum native developer. I basically do all my coding on Solidity. Shifting from Solidity to Rust was a huge challenge for me. Even now, right now, I'm like figuring out all the things with it. But let's see, it's a steep slope.
What do you work
I am good, enjoying this event. I work at CoinECX. I am into marketing. I make content for them. I do research for them. I attend events for them. So all of that fancy stuff. Yeah.
Very important person. You're a very important connect.
No.
Tell me a name so people can send you a connection request.
My name is Riya Yadav. So you can just hit me up and we will talk.
Like, how do you get a job, by the way, at CoinECX?
Oh, funny story. So LinkedIn pe our CEO Sumit Gupta, he had said something, and I had put out an answer to it, or like we had a small conversation, and then he was like, why don't you apply to CoinECX? I was 10 months working at Deloitte, and I was like, I have to switch from a MNC to a startup, and preferably in a crypto space, because I was really interested. So yeah, I did that, gone through 7 rounds of interviews, started, yes, because I was working as a data scientist earlier. Then I just switched. I worked for 3 months in data science, and then just what can we? Just so sorry.
Yeah, my name is Jerry, and I work for Solana Labs as an engineer.
Do you travel across the world for the hacker houses?
Yeah. So I've done a pretty good amount of traveling. I went to the Bahamas a few weeks before this, and then now I'm here. But for the most part, I've been traveling throughout the United States.
There's been a lot of hacker houses across the world, right? Just the past few months?
Yeah. There's been a lot. I think that there's been quite a few in Europe. There's been a lot in the States. There's also been one in Singapore.
And like you are supporting through the office hours, right? You're a Solana developer.
Yeah, I'm a Solana developer. So usually during these events, what I'll do is the devs who are building will come to the office hours, and I'll try to help them with any technical questions they have.
How's your experience been over here?
It's been great. It's really cool to see kind of a place where everyone is basically a builder. Everyone's kind of heads down, sitting and coding. The whole room is full, like capacity. Yeah, it's been really, really fun. There's definitely been quite a few projects that have spun up from these hacker houses pretty organically. So overall, really satisfied with like the progress that these developers have been making.
How about in terms of the problems that people are facing? A lot of developers are just new to the space, right?
Yeah.
What kind of problems are they facing?
I think a lot of them are having trouble just getting started, which is sort of what when they come to me with problems about that, I usually just tell them to try to start simple. I think a lot of people try to dive into things too quickly, and so the best way to start is to start kind of at the very basics and then move your way up.
By the way, if you can just explain to me Solana like very quickly, what is Solana and like what is the unique value proposition here?
Yeah, it's a blockchain like many others out there. It's proof of stake based, but I think the main value proposition is that it's a lot faster. Block times are like usually sub-second. Also, it's a lot cheaper. So the gas cost is like a lot lower than on a lot of other chains. So that sort of enables you to do a lot of more unique, more sophisticated types of smart contracts.
Finally, what do you think of the projects that are coming out of here right now?
There have been a lot that have been pretty interesting. Really excited to hear about the rest of them.
We are launching X-Hype, which is a AR 3D premium digital collectible marketplace.
No. He's the main guy. He's the main guy behind.
So we're basically building xhype.xyz, which is an augmented reality and 3D NFT marketplace. So you'll be able to basically get all your NFTs that are there in your wallet. They're no longer going to be trapped in your wallet, but in the space around you. And the way we're going to be enabling that is we're going to have different utilities for these 3D files that are there on our platform. And basically what's going to happen is you'll be able to do an AR 3D treasure hunt, very similar to what Pokemon Go does. But you'll be able to basically go and search for the AR NFT and then collect them in a real space around you. Or you might be able to also collect 3D AR fashion. And the way the platform will basically expand is that our creators will, maybe you want to buy a 3D shoe or a 3D hat, and then you'll also get like a social media file that you can upload onto Instagram and Snapchat and wear all of this AR fashion on you. So right now, this is like our demo. So you'll be able to see what you can do. You can click on it and then we're running on the web. So now so you can hold on to the phone and you can walk around it.
And I can go backside of. It's right here, right?
So this is an AR NFT, is it?
Yeah, this is an AR NFT. And now you can take a photograph with your own NFT, upload it onto social media. Yeah, this is just one of the applications. Yeah.
What are your other tech stacks?
So I'm not the tech stack guy.
No, like what are you tech? Except Solana, what are you using for creating this AR?
Yeah, so I'm not the technical founder. My technical founder is there. But basically, we're building it on Solana and we're using a universal file format for 3D, which is GLB file format. Yeah.
Why Solana?
So I think initially when we realized that Solana was much cheaper to mint NFTs on, what that really does for us is that it allows more creators, it democratizes the platform a little more, so more people are able to mint their projects on our platform, and it also reduces the barrier of entry of listing collections. Besides the fact that it was eco-friendly and also one of the fastest blockchains out there.
What were you doing before this?
I was heading design at a fintech startup. Loveneet.
I think a lot of people from fintech into crypto right now.
I think it kind of makes sense, right? Because it is like the whole decentralized finance system. I think like the inception is Bitcoin, which is like the concept of finance. It kind of makes like logical progression that somebody wants to go from a centralized banking system to a decentralized system.
So I'm working on a company called Strike Protocols. We're an institutional grade wallet on Solana for everyone. So I think like what we've seen in the space is you've either got really secure wallets or you have really easy to use wallets. And you don't really have like something that's able to offer both of those to their users in a manner that's like DeFi and like Web3 accessible.
Is there something similar on Ethereum?
So there's Gnosis Safe, but Gnosis Safe does not provide this level of granular control in a manner that's completely on-chain. So what's great about Solana is it's fast. So we can do everything we want on-chain, right? Say transfer whitelisting, you can't do that on Gnosis. You can't do that on Ethereum, it's too expensive to like whitelist an address on like Ethereum. But we can do that on Solana. We can store that in a program in a completely private manner.
Where are you guys based out of, by the way?
Well, we're actually pretty spread out. We've got New York, we've got Texas, we've got Germany. We used to have some team members out in Eastern Europe, and then I'm over here in India.
What do you do?
I work on product and strategy for them. I used to be a product manager. Now we're at Strike Protocols, we're a little small for a product, full-scale product team.
How is the Solana ecosystem, by the way?
We found it really strong, but we're very excited about like Serum and things like that. Lack of a better word, we're very bullish on Solana. That's why we chose it to build on it. We've seen the team continuously sort of like push what's being built on Solana. We came into the space because we think DeFi is the future and we think it's going to be built on Solana, but we also now seeing a lot of cool NFT projects building on Solana, and there being a lot of like uses there and our wallet being able to deliver value there. So we're interested, we're also going to be adding like NFT support and things like that. You know, I think we came in for the DeFi and now we're staying for like the rest of the ecosystem.
What's your name, by the way?
I'm Shanat. What's your name? I'm
Salman.
Salman. I'm actually sort of curious. We're actually thinking of like getting a video made for our wallet. Is that something like you'd be able to like help out with, or like different expertise? Got it. I think it's like when non-technical people enter the space and they start contributing. You obviously need the technical people, right? When you go for like an interview and people are like, okay, he knows the technical stuff, but like what else does he have to offer? I think like that's a good analogy. What you sort of need in like a broader ecosystem for it to like grow. It's very easy for a technical person to like look at this and like for me to like explain this to like a technical person. They understand like the underpinnings of what it's doing, but moment will come when you like show it to like a non-technical person and they're like, I get it, I get what it does, I get how I can use it, and I don't know, it takes people like you guys to like, I think, deliver that in a way that's like friendly for people.
Tell me your name.
My name's Varun. Like, do I have to look in the camera or something?
No, you don't look at the camera.
Okay.
So you're a member at Super Team DAO, is it?
Yeah, I'm a member at Super Team DAO.
And what do you do?
I'm a video editor. Like, I'm a freelancer, but like I've edited videos for like Web3 and stuff. Like, I've edited the Solana developer series, and I've like edited a couple of videos for Honestly by Tanmay Bhatt's channel.
Nice. So how did you get into Super Team, by the way?
Around Web3, I was lurking around and I stumbled upon the Super Team DAO Discord channel. And then I saw a bounty about video script that like it intrigued me to like write a. It was a Solana deep dive. Like how.
You did one of those?
Yeah. It was a deep dive video script.
So you wrote video script and then got in as an editor.
I got in as a member. I do not work as a video editor in Super Team DAO. I'm a freelancer, but like how I became a member, I came in through writing a video script for it.
You found yourself capable of analyzing a protocol and a deep dive?
Yeah, well, being from a non-technical background, it was a bit tough for me, like understanding all proof of stake and proof of work, everything. It was like everything was going all above my head.
What is a bounty about? What specifically was it?
I think it was about Solana deep dive. I might have it in my laptop.
Did you make someone else write it and submit
it?
No,
of course not. Like, yeah, of course, I get it. I get it. Like,
yeah,
I should hope so, but yeah.
So you won $1,000. What is it?
It was a $500 bounty.
Yeah,
yes.
nice.
It was my first income. I was super proud of myself.
How old are you, by the way? If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. I'll be 21 in this August.
So cool, bro. So life is good then.
Life is great. I could not have even imagined being in Solana's hacker house.
Otherwise, you're not really into
I'm not
Web3
at all.
and these kind of stuff.
I'm not at all
probably
like
before.
connected to like Web3. I never knew about it. I'm from a finance background. I liked cooking. I was like way afar from these stuff. But somehow I got connected and like Web3 intrigues me. Now I don't want to edit videos like outside Web3. That is why the only reason I came all the way from Delhi to Bangalore is to network with people so that I can edit videos for them. On superteam.fun, right, they have this guideline to a deep dive bounty. Every time they are emphasizing on one thing, that you should give your own input. Everyone can Google it and change some words, like try not to plagiarize it and put it up as a deep dive. But the most important aspect of this is like they analyze all the deep dives, and if there's something fruitful coming out of it that no one else is being able to provide it, like on the internet, white paper, anything, then that is the one they'll choose for the bounty.
What are you working on?
I'm working on something called it's a DeFi basket. You can just select a portfolio and then invest your money, and then your money will be invested in a ratio relative to the portfolio. So you don't have to actually have a knowledge about crypto. I started working on this a few days back. It was actually before on Polygon, so I have to convert everything.
So what is your experience like from Polygon to Solana?
So it's everything new. I mean, I have to choose another wallet. The MetaMask doesn't work here, so Phantom wallet works here. I was just trying for MetaMask on that, and I was just thinking why was not it working.
Did you find any collaborators here?
Found some co-founders here. Was working in similar to DeFi Basket.
You met them here?
Yeah, I met them here just on the first table.
Really?
Yeah.
He was working on the same thing?
Yeah.
He was working on something similar?
Yeah, he was working on the same thing actually.
Your name?
Yes.
So you were telling something. Can I just repeat that?
Yeah, so the Solana is a bit tiring. So there are a lot of errors coming again and again for me, and documentation is not that good for me at least. I mean, documentation is good, but error documentation is not that good. So if I need to debug something and it throws an error, and I just search on Stack Overflow. Sometimes I get, sometimes I don't get the solution, and the solution I get might work, might not work. So it's just taking a long process.
We're building this spiritual metaverse / gamified version of a world, and currently we're in stealth, and we're just looking for developers and designers to work with us who are trained in 3D modeling, 3D mapping, and just AR and VR. My name is Hasheen. I am currently in second year of college. I'm from Kashmir. My team is in IIT Bombay, and we just came to the hackathon to look for some VCs who can fund the tech part of a project.
Tell me the product, the spiritual angle. I want to find out how does Web3 solve this.
It's not really, pivoted towards solving anything. Actually, well, it is. It is like, there's a gap between what Web3 and the spiritual realm have to offer. I come from a psychology background. I'm a very spiritual person, and personally I felt within this space there hasn't been anything that's properly catering to spiritual appetite of people like me, founders especially, who are generally very spiritual people, and I just wanted to build something around it.
Anything to do with Solana? What do you guys?
We'll see. We're deciding what we'll build it on.
So currently I'm a designer. I'm a product designer. I'm working on a product called Asset.money. Asset.money is basically a NFT portfolio management tool where folks can connect their wallet, track their NFTs, see their worth. So as an NFT portfolio tracking tool, we also have a thing called estimated API where we calculate NFTs worth based on rarity and traits. So based on estimated API, we are calculating undervalued NFTs. That's what I'm up to.
So you're also part of Super Team and you're one grant and everything. Tell me about that project, Buy Me a Crypto Coffee.
Correct. So it's a crypto version of Buy Me a Coffee, right? It's a fun project. We wanted to get into crypto via building a product. So we went ahead, simply built that thing. We launched it on Product Hunt, made product of the day. We applied for Polygon grant, we applied for Solana grant, and entered Super Team via that grant.
Did you win both the grants?
Yeah. We won Polygon, Solana, and a couple of more grants.
Yeah, professionally, I'm a marine officer. I used to work on ships. Yeah, going around the globe, traveling. Yeah.
Why are you here at a Web3 conference?
Well, I'm into business as well. I have my own business where we are doing video marketing for people, especially business owners. So that's what I do. For past 4 years, we've been into business. So I'm trying to learn this Web3 space because this is something really which excites me. Because many people do not know about Web3. Even Web2, I'm not familiar with Web2 too much, but Web3 is something which is very interesting because this is all about decentralization, and this excites me. Like as much as I have been exploring the seas, this is something to be explored. Earlier, when the websites and websites and all came, everyone was skeptical about so many things, right? So even we are all skeptical about Web3.
We feel the same way about that.
We feel the same.
How's life as a marine officer?
We got to see different places, taste different food, and meet beautiful and different people, cultures. It's all awesome.
So I'm Hansam Krishna, and I work in the cybersecurity domain, and particularly looking at trying to bridge the gap between smart contracts and how these can be used in enterprises. So enterprises do need to be compliant, and they need a certain governance that needs to be in place before they can use that in their the behemoth that they are of compliance and governance. So that's the space I work in and try to building my service around it.
Are enterprises thinking about Web3, would you say?
Absolutely. You can see a lot of banks and a lot of enterprises are getting into Web 3.0 services. It's going to be a very long transition, but absolutely, I think they're...
What's the interest? Where's the interest coming from?
I mean, for now, it's massively trying to get into the innovative brand that they want to project. It's going to start from there, because it starts from there pretty much whenever there's a new technology that comes in. But eventually they're going to realize that the decentralized aspect of things and how that can be utilized into their suite of services. Particularly for finance, there's a lot of things that are happening around how can traditional financial services can address things in AML, like money laundering and financial crime, trying to address that.
So by the way, what are the kind of challenges they're facing through this journey of figuring out Web3?
So the biggest challenge that they're going to face is going to be technology, trying to find the right people and trying to make sure that they have the right skill sets within the company to kind of have that addressed. But then later on, it's going to be about compliance and security. It's going to be about legal aspects of things. So there are companies which kind of are working on helping these companies transition from Web 2.0 to 3.0, which are brilliant. But then when it comes to being entirely 3.0 is where the challenge begins. You have to be legally compliant to things that are the smart contracts automatically doing and stuff like that. So if that answers the question.
Your name and what you do?
I'm Risha, and I am a content specialist at CrowdPad.
What does CrowdPad do, by the way?
So CrowdPad is an app. It's basically a tokenized community of social tokens where essentially you can scroll and there are creators and you can buy social tokens in your name. So for example, my name is Risha. So you buy a Risha token of the creator and you get exclusive stuff from them. So you get like merchandise, pre-sale of tickets, you get a lot of invites to their events. So in that way, they are getting monetized and you're also getting benefits without there being a middleman, which currently exists with like TikTok and Instagram and all of that. So we eradicated the middleman and the creators make the money directly. And the community benefits as well.
So do you guys also help creators get on Web3?
We focus on upcoming creators who are looking for a platform to build, because there are already people on YouTube who have reached a certain amount of followers and make some amount of money. But CrowdPad actually focuses on creators who want to make it big, who are looking for a place to make sure that every piece of art or anything that they make is gaining the traction that it deserves. So there's...
Could use all the support?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
So, other people from your team here?
Yeah, that's Susanna. She's my mentor. She does all the brand and she's essentially everything under marketing she handles. So whatever you look at on the app or on the Instagram page, everything is her design.
How did you get the job?
I looked them up. I got into Web3 and I was like, I want to do something about it. And I thank the universe and the algorithm that I came across them, and I interacted with her and she luckily liked me as well. So I got them. No, I emailed them. So I came across their page on Instagram and I went through it and I really liked the content and I knew I could contribute to it, which is why I hit her up on Gmail. I sent her my resume and very luckily she liked me and she took a chance and here I am.
What were you doing before you went?
I'm actually a student as well. I'm a student. I'm a second year university student. So I do CrowdPad as well as like my college stuff.
So how many hours do you spend on?
On CrowdPad? Oh yeah, on work. They're very nice they make sure that I'm spending enough time on college as well as having a social life. So it depends. There's not a specific hour that they require me to, but the work is good. I'm able to have a social life, do well in college as well as like contribute to work. So it's awesome.
What a life as a student.
Really, it's every student's dream to get a job like this.
What are you working on?
So I'm working at Tesla's blockchain for their business and growth. We scout for projects coming out of South Asian countries. We try to get them funded, scale them to whatever scale possible. Give them all the support possible, technical support, marketing support, funding, grants. We have done some great partnerships in the past, like Manchester United, McLaren, Red Bull, Ubisoft, you name it. In the corporate side, we have got it all. So that's what it is.
What are you doing with Solana here?
You're copying the strategies. No, it's multi-chain. We are going towards a multi-chain universe. So they are all friends. We are all trying to understand where the synergies lie. Try to, learn from them. Also probably give them a few tips.
Wow. Are you also working on any projects here right now?
I am. So I'm actually working on a DAO reviewing tool. So it's basically like a Glassdoor for DAOs.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Are you working with Rajkarya?
No, I know, right? Like actually, literally, I met him yesterday and I saw his project. I was like, dude, this is what I am doing as well. I shared all my notes with him. So I'm doing it on a very literally side project way, like a MVP sort of way. But he's doing it as a full-blown project, right? So I actually helped him. Gave him all my notes because if someone is gonna do it better, let them. So, but I'm also working on it side by side.
How's your project going?
So right now we are done with the backend integration, like we have done the Discord authentication, some on-chain stuff as well. But we are working on the front end now. So there's no live tool as such, and we have collated all the resources, DAO lists and all. So let's see where it goes.
How did you collect the resources?
Bro, funnily that was the easiest part of the thing. So if you just go to Twitter and type DAO sheet, literally DAO sheet, you will find like so many people have put up threads. It's easy, you just gotta find it. Everything's there on Twitter mostly, I believe. Like people, resources, everything.
Yeah. Tell me any.
Mohit Jain.
When you said you're in cybersecurity.
Yeah. I was hacking, I was doing bug bounty side by side along with my college, and then I came to know that coding is not something for me. I dropped that and felt that past 2 years were into community, and so why not to just go into community full time. So I'm looking for community manager role at the moment. Yeah, if you want to look at my portfolio, it's the LaserKit TH3 laserkit.gitbook.io.
Right. Typeform has now been fixed. Thank you. Taking submissions for the next.
What do you do?
So we've been building projects as Megadoc, where we built out a startup studio of sorts for Web3 specifically. 25 of us have come together within design, within development, within marketing, growth, product. So everyone sort of come together to build interesting projects and products.
So if you're looking for any interns, like community manager intern, let me know. Can I have your Twitter?
If you're looking for an internship, I'm running a program with Super Team now called Super Intern.
Yeah, I've applied for it.
I applied for it. What's the name again?
Fenil Shah.
Okay, I'll take a look whether you've been shortlisted or not. I'll let you know.
Were you pitching yourself?
Yeah, I'm selling myself to him. Raj made me meet him, and let's see how it goes.
Were you impressed with what he has to?
Yeah, we are impressed. Yeah, he has done a lot of open source or like referral kind of thing, community stuff.
I just met Fenil over here. He was a good community guy. He has some fire in himself to do. He don't know about the ecosystem, but is willing to explore, is willing to do something. So I just connected him with people with the same vibes, that they want someone who can explore on his own, who could take ownership of tasks. They are okay if he doesn't know everything. He should be someone who is willing to learn. So I just connected both of them, and now they're in an agreement. He got a job.
Very impressive, bro.
I know, right? 2 days into this, and so I've been pitching to many people about internship, and this is the second I got the internship.
So I'm Mahesh. I'm working on One UPI. One UPI is basically a payment protocol. What the problem facing right now in the payment gateway is the settlements are delayed by 2 days. Another thing, the drawback of the traditional payment gateway you're using right now is 2% of commission you have to pay for it. So we hope that blockchain solves this problem, and actually it did. by working on the blockchain smart contract, which will be automating the flow of banking systems, bringing that thing on chain, we are able to verify all the banking process on blockchain, and hence we are able to process the transaction request from user to merchant in 3 to 5 seconds at most. By eliminating the banking middleman, we are able to make this payment flow censorshipless, and that's what blockchain is solving for us. And Web3 is evolving in a good manner, and heading to an impact which is leading to a great financial flow in the market. Yeah.
How did you get into blockchain?
I got into blockchain by learning to develop smart contracts just 6 months back, and within 3 months I was able to code a smart contract which can automate the banking flow.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Anand. I'm working on a game right now. It's like a game on Solana at the moment called Jumbo Mambo. It's pretty fun. It's characters, the weapons, everything is assets that can be transacted with. And we also have fungible and non-fungible tokens. The idea is to have like a complete in-game economy. Solana, one of the reasons was mainly like transaction speed. That's like very important to us. We're building a game, right? We want the user experience to be extremely seamless. Users shouldn't have to wait for the game to load it, and they also shouldn't be charged a gas fee after they play a game. Like imagine going and playing a game and then being charged like some exorbitant fee on Ethereum. So those are some of the reasons why Solana was a reasonable choice.
How's the ecosystem, by the way? What do you think?
I think it's great. There's just so many developers. Everybody's really friendly. You can just send a message on Twitter if you have a question about some code that they wrote, and they're happy to reach out. Everybody passes that like energy forward. There aren't too many people that are like keeping their code like very secret and things like that. It's a very supportive ecosystem.
What did you say you are?
I'm a blockchain test engineer.
So how is that?
So yeah, it's good. So basically, I'm a full-time Web 2.0 Selenium automation test engineer. So currently also like doing blockchain test engineering, learning and exploring a lot of stuffs with Solidity and everything.
So tell me about this testing scene. Like how is the bugs? How are the bugs in on-chain?
Okay, when we are speaking about on-chain bugs, there are a lot of types of bugs. So basically, a bug doesn't appear only from a Solidity smart contract. We can get a bug from anywhere from the application. So, but what my role would be is to test the entire application and also look from a user perspective. Because at the end of the day, customer is the king who is paying to the end user. So that is what I feel. So I will be looking more from a user perspective, and I will also do user perspective testing, performance testing, and also like trying to overload the application as much as possible and to push to break the system. So a tester's role is to find the flaw in the system and to break the system.
Does blockchain space pay well?
I don't know, like I have not completely transitioned yet into blockchain space. Compared to Web 2.0, it is going to pay a very good thing only. It is going to be very massive compared to Web 2.0. So see, we're going to get paid in USD, not in INR. So that's the good thing, right?
You didn't tell your name.
I'm Rahul Vasudevan. Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
What's the channel? Like, do you do like regular vlogs? Oh, Salman did such a. Oh, I have heard this. Yeah, I'm a Super Team member.
I'm a contributor too in Super Team. Can I look at that? Yeah, so we are actually building a tool to solve for the coordination issue within service DAOs. To tell you the basic how this originated, we were like just looking around the DAOs and we had no idea how to contribute to multiple projects. Like we didn't know who are working on what projects, who are the leads of these projects. So we were just shilling our past works to everyone, like, hey, I'm skilled at this, I want to contribute. Similarly, there are other people who are looking for developers and marketers, designers, but this loop is not getting connected. So it's just obvious that there should be a tool that should solve for this lack of collaboration between contributors within the DAO.
Okay. So who worked on this?
We both have that, and we had like really good feedbacks and assistance from Super Team DAO.
Super Team is like great. Like all the members within are very helpful. Lot of talented folks. So lot of great networks gets built.
Sorry, do I look at the camera? Do I look at you? How do you want to do it?
We talk to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Hey everyone, what is up? I have a very special episode with me here with Kash Danda. This man right here runs Super Team DAO, a DAO out of India, and they're responsible for launching Solana in India. I feel like Super Team has done a phenomenal job. I really want to understand how that has happened, and generally speaking, like how you all operate. Just the whole idea of DAOs and how work happens within a DAO is like a completely new concept.
Yeah.
And I think it would be awesome to explore that with you. Let's begin with your background, right?
My background's in postmodern political philosophy, which is really just like the study of power dynamics and how societies kind of organize themselves. So I've been interested in the ways that people kind of collectivize and figure out how to solve real problems for a long time, as well as some of the kind of murkier problems that might happen as people organize. So that's been kind of my initial interest. The reason I got into crypto in the first place in 2016 was because of the DAO, which, as many people know, was eventually hacked and caused ETH to fork into Ethereum, Classic and Ethereum. And this idea of kind of products that run themselves, I think, was really enticing, right? Because at the time, DAOs were meant to be much more what today we might call protocol DAOs, right? So small groups of people or large groups of people kind of governing over a semi-autonomous piece of code. So I thought that was fascinating. And I think I heard somebody talk about the idea of like Uber, but without any of the employees, and everyone's just kind of on a volunteer basis and blah, blah, blah. So that was my first foray into crypto. Akshay and Tanmay had been running the podcast for a little while, and I know Akshay just socially, like we used to play poker together for a few years. And so like we would just talk crypto all the time at the table, and eventually we were talking about DAOs, and he was like, hey, we're thinking about starting a DAO, like want to help us build this. So that's kind of like the nature of how I got into DAOs. So.
Awesome. Let's talk about Super Team. From what I know, it starts with a podcast. And what a great podcast. You guys literally built a community on a new channel, on a podcast channel, and then launched into a DAO.
I think the genesis behind the DAO was that Akshay and Tanmay were doing like angel investing for a little while, supporting founders, doing advising, all of that kind of stuff. They both found it like fulfilling and gratifying and wanted to kind of go a little bit deeper into it. So like in conversations, they, and eventually me as I joined the team as well, was figuring out, well, how do we take this kind of audience that we have and change it from an audience relationship to an actual community relationship, right? The obvious difference being an audience is one to many, right? It's a bunch of people listening to Akshay and Tanmay. But what they were interested in is all these listeners were interesting people themselves who were trying to break into Web3, who were building cool projects. And so the idea is, isn't there a lot of value in actually connecting all of those people to each other as opposed to only having them come to us? And that was the genesis of the DAO. It's like, let's build a community where everyone that's into this kind of stuff that we think is talented can connect and build great things together.
I think the way the DAO actually functions is not really transparent at all. But I think there's been a lot of like movement building. Super Team, people love Super Team and people love to flaunt even the fact that they are part of Super Team and everything. Cool. What is a Super Team?
One way to think about Super Team, right, is that Super Team is like an umbrella brand. And underneath Super Team are a bunch of different kind of semi-autonomous operating groups, right? If the Super Team is the brand, there's the podcast, right, which I'm not involved in at all. The other core contributors at Super Team, not involved with at all, right? That's kind of like Akshay and Tanmay's thing. Then we have the DAO, right, which we're all involved in to a degree. I'm probably the most involved in it. We have FTX Super Team, which is like our accelerator program with the crypto exchange FTX. Neil runs that. And there'll be more things that kind of get built out over time, right? So there's thoughts of like, hey, maybe it's a legal firm next, maybe it's a movie production studio, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So Super Team is really the overall brand. And the basic thought is like, hey, this is the place overall where smart, talented people who are into crypto or want to become into crypto should head. If you're just interested in learning, if you're just getting up to speed, check out the podcast. If you actually want to start to earn and contribute to projects, come to the DAO. If you actually want to found something and you need funding to like go hire a team and so on, go to the accelerator. And there will be continue to be other kind of appendages put onto it over time as well.
It sounds like there's a place for different level of contributions. How is that designed?
The DAO itself is probably the easiest to think about, right? So I like to think about it in concentric circles. So what you have is not a fully permissionless free-for-all, which other DAOs have done well with. Bankless is a great example where you just need some kind of minimum amount of bank to participate. I think like our general sense was that when things are permissionless, it becomes very hard to cultivate the right kind of culture. And it becomes very hard to kind of curate the right type of people. Communities can easily be kind of sidelined or bombarded unless they're very intentionally kind of created. And we see this in a lot of other DAOs, right? So like Forefront, which used to be fully open, is now like very much closed, right? Friends with Benefits is also like obviously very closed. The financial requirement to get in is very high. A lot of DAOs have kind of figured out that fully open and permissionless is not great for creating accountability. It's not great for creating strong social connections. And it's really just not a great way to get shit done. And so the two ways to get in as a member are basically, we have to pay you to come into a member, right? So unlike other DAOs, we don't ask you to buy our token because we don't have a token. We don't ask you to pay any money, anything like that. You got to either win a bounty, as you say, oftentimes deep dive bounties, there's design bounties, there's a whole bunch of different stuff, or win an Instagram, right? So if you're a builder who's creating, let's say a DApp or some other kind of thing, maybe you're leading a meetup that you want to get funding for that we might be able to sponsor. For that, we let people into the DAO as well. And the basic idea is like, hey, that's a really simple and straightforward evaluative criteria. Are you either the best in a bounty or are you good enough to get it through an Instagram? We're really tight and we're trying to keep the membership to be around 150. So 150 people is Dunbar's number, as you might know, right? And Dunbar's number is this idea that the human mind can really only hold 150 relationships at a time. We think it's really important that every member is able to at least have a rough sense of who else is there. As soon as you hit, let's say 1,000, it becomes very difficult. People feel a bit more intimidated or maybe they get disengaged in some kind of way. What we have found is really important is these strong social ties, right? And community, quite frankly, is very difficult to scale in a way that maintains those strong social ties in the fashion that we like. So we have kind of the core team. Outside of that, we have the members, right? So we have about 150-ish of those right now. We've just launched a new section called contributors. So what we noticed is there's a lot of like really talented people that wanted to get involved, wanted to hear more about opportunities, wanted to connect with like-minded folks. So if anyone's listening, go join the Super Team Talent Network. You can find it on our website under Find Work in Web3. And we're letting some of the best people from that also come in. Again, at this point, that's less than a 5% acceptance rate. We're still trying to curate it pretty heavily, but we expect over time that there will be more contributors than members, right? Again, that outer ring. And then we have lurkers outside of that, which is really just anybody who's kind of interested in what we're doing or joining the Discord. Over time, there are specific events only for members, like our community calls. There are things for contributors and members. We do Rust sessions, we do roast sessions, we do all sorts of different things. And then over time, there'll be stuff for like lurkers to participate as well. So yeah, that's kind of like the way the DAO is organized. So a lot of DAOs, they kind of have large working groups, anybody can join who wants to participate. We keep our working groups to like 2 to 8 people maximum, right? And the basic lesson that we learned from one of our early projects is that when everyone can contribute ideas, the list of requirements gets very long and the list of things that get shipped gets very short, right? Because you have too many people who have very good ideas and who are well-intentioned and want to contribute, but they're not going to be actually there to see it through and execute. So we keep working groups very small, and that allows us to get a lot more done than your average DAO. We're starting to see this in other DAOs as well, where they're starting to say like, hey, this is not, even if you're in the DAO, you can't just join any working group. And the third thing that we've done that we're starting to see more DAOs adopt is identifying clear working group leads. So in DAOs, like in the kind of stereotypical sense, everybody is equal, no one has any power, we're all just contributors, whatever. We think that's kind of bullshit, right? That's not how things get done. People need to be accountable. And the easiest way to make things accountable and to make sure shit gets shipped is to say, hey, for this working group, this one person, they're the ultimate decision maker. Now they can choose to be as democratic or as tyrannical as they want to be within the working group. If they're tyrannical, people will leave the working group because why not, right? So there is some kind of inbuilt incentive to be somewhat democratic, but ultimately the accountability is on them. They're the ones who are going to get in trouble if it doesn't get launched. They're the ones who get to make the final decisions. And again, we're seeing that in more and more DAOs now where people are understanding decentralization is not the absence of leadership, right? It's the presence of many leaders, as Balaji likes to say. So the idea is how can we empower more people to be leaders of small teams in order to get things done?
They are used to forget password runs, but as you know, there is no forget password in C3.
Hey, is it demo time? All the best.
Thank you.
you.